Fact checkers scramble to cover up radical New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani's communist agenda. Now, they are caping so hard for this socialist. He tried to call himself a democratic socialist when he's not a communist. He literally quotes the Marxist manifesto, but yet he's not a. They try to say he's not a Marxist. It's just crazy. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about how the so-called fact checkers are defending him. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from Slate News, and they report that PolitiFact, a so-called fact checker, we all know they're really biased, long criticized by conservatives for playing defense for Democrats, is once again under fire. This time, PolitiFact is shielding New York City's far-left Democrat mayoral nominee Zohran Mamdani from scrutiny. The cover comes after President Donald Trump responded to Mamdani's shock primary win by labeling him a 100% communist lunatic. The fact-checking outlet jumped to the defense of Mamdani, a 33-year-old self-declared Democratic socialist. Mamdani just won the Democratic Party's primary in a stunning upset over establishment figures like former Governor Andrew Cuomo. After winning the primary in deep blue NYC, Mamdani is now expected to be the city's next mayor. If they vote this dude in, then they get what they deserve. But Trump sounded the alarm in a Truth Social post last week, warning, quote, "We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous." PolitiFact quickly swooped in, not to evaluate Mamdani's policies on their merits, but to declare Trump's claim false. Again, the dude literally quoted the Marxist manifesto. The failed journalist behind the fact check dismissed the president's warning as just another example of Red Scare rhetoric. According to PolitiFact, Mamdani's platform, which includes rent control is a Marxist idea, city-owned grocery stores, another Marxist idea, and free public transportation, is not akin to communism. The site leaned heavily on left-leaning academics to argue that because Mamdani hasn't formally called for the abolishment of markets or single-party rule, he couldn't possibly be a communist. So those two things, because he didn't mention those two things, he's not a communist. What the so-called fact checkers didn't address, however, is the reality that Mamdani's policies closely mirror Marxist economic principles. It's Marxism 101. Mamdani has been pushing far-left Marxist policies such as state control over housing, transportation, and food distribution, which is what Marxism is. It's the government control over all of those things. Many conservatives see that not as some benign Western European model, but as a dangerous slide towards full-blown socialism, if not outright communism. But PolitiFact wasn't interested in that debate, as it scrambled to defend Democrats while smearing Trump. It instead quoted a professor from Stanford and another from Tufts, who were hardly unbiased voices. Both academics conveniently downplayed Mamdani's radicalism as a standard fare in, quote, many Western democracies. Are you serious? The piece ended with a stern ruling. Trump's statement was false. However, the site didn't give Trump its infamous pants on fire designation this time. The outlet claimed this label is reserved for what it calls especially outrageous claims. Yet, PolitiFact has slapped that label on Trump for far less. According to the site's own statistics, more than half of Trump's claims reviewed have been ruled either false or pants on fire. Meanwhile, prominent left-wing figures, including Joe Biden and members of the far-left Democrat squad, rarely received the same level of scrutiny, let alone the scorched earth verdicts PolitiFact regularly deploys against conservatives. So when Trump warns about a candidate whose platform calls for aggressive government intervention in nearly every corner of urban life, PolitiFact sees it as fear-mongering when it's exactly what he's doing. He admitted these things. He wants government to control every aspect of your life. If that's not Marxism, I don't know what is. But for many Americans, it looks like an all too familiar pattern. Another fact-checking organization twisting itself into knots to protect a rising Democrat star while downplaying his ideological extremism. Whether you call it socialism or communism, one thing is clear. Mamdani's vision of New York City is a far cry from free market American values, and no amount of selective fact-checking is going to change that. Nothing they can do. So, I mean, all you have to do is listen to his rhetoric, man. It's total Marxism. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.